And hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. This is APPE-TV coming to you live.
Hello, everyone.
And it's Thursday, the 28th of August. We are joined today by the wonderful Matt Christensen. Kyle, would you like to give a bit more of an intro to Matt and tell us what we're going to be talking about today?
Matt, thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate all the efforts that you make in the forum because, you know, all the members who have trouble, you seem to be one of the first people in to say, hey, why don't you try that? It's just awesome. So Matt, why did you decide to become like a tech head editor, digital ninja? Like how did you get there? And then after that, could you go in and describe the what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, I guess thanks for having me. It's great to be here. A little bit about how I ended up where I am is just that I wanted to get into filmmaking, and I also love computers. And so those two things kind of cornered me into the world where I am now. So I went to film school in LA, thought I wanted to be a director, like everyone does, and then got into post-production and thought I wanted to be an editor, et cetera, et cetera. That led me to like color grading, and I was a finishing editor for a while, and then I joined Adobe. So I've always been kind of straddling back and forth between, like, there's an alternate version of me that got a computer science degree and became a full-on programmer engineer, but then I would have probably been making short films on the side or something like that. So that's kind of my story.
So you're like Johnny Mnemonic in real life.
Sure, I'll take it.
And I think you mentioned earlier as well when we were doing the pre-show stuff. By the way, folks, we have had, as we always do with most of these shows, you have a few little audio wrinkles before the show. So Matt has spent some time to try and sort that out, and we all have, and it's sounding sweet, I hope. You were mentioning beforehand that you actually moved to Germany last year. I just assumed you were in the States. So how is it for you in Germany?
Well, when I first joined the group and have been helping everyone, I was in the States. So, I love Germany. My wife and I basically have just always wanted to live abroad at some point. Even before I joined Adobe, that was sort of like in the back of my mind. And it just so happened that Adobe has an office in Hamburg, that does engineering work. And so I took a leap and joined a team there that works on the ML and kind of AI features that you see in Premiere Pro and some of the other Adobe apps. So that's sort of been my specialty over the last 2 years, is those kind of features, but obviously I know Premiere Pro in and out as well.
And that's great. And guess what, folks? We're being joined by the one, the only, the irrepressible and the incredibly talented Christine Steele. How are you, Christine?
Christine, awesome. Thank you for
Hi,
joining
you
us.
guys. It's good to see you. I wasn't planning to be here today, but then when I heard Matt was coming on to share all this cool stuff, I had to show up. So
We held a gun to your head, didn't we? Love the screen behind you, by the way. That's absolutely gorgeous. What is that?
It's just a room divider to hide the storage.
To hide all the crap. Yeah, I know.
We all relate. I hope we all relate to that.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
So Christine, I got to say, your experience in training, building all the video modules that help, Adobe editors learn how to operate the system is incredible. Between you and John Knowles, and we'd love to do a show with you and John Knowles just talking about training. But Matt's changed the menus. So
I know. I saw Kylie's post and I went and checked some things out. And then I was like, oh my God, Matt's amazing. This is genius. And then I thought, oh my God, Matt, you just made so much more work for all of us. So get Adobe to, toss some training content our way.
So here's the thing with that. I was talking about this earlier with some guys and guys and gals,
by the way.
And it's the whole thing with changing the menus is, yes, there is always going to be the pain where your muscle memory has adapted to what it is, and you kind of go, no, don't change it. The thing is, having played with it a little already, it's so much less cluttered, and it's going to take a few days to get used to, but after that there's going to be no turning back, I'm fairly sure, for most.
it's so clean and nice looking. I can't wait for you to share it with everybody, Matt. Really excellent work.
Thank you.
Cool.
And Kyle, you arranged all of this with Matt. Have we got a quick overview of what we're going to be covering today?
Matt, we had there's a lot to cover, right? I did throw the little link in there about for Kylie's video, which was awesome, which has a great history of how of your drive personally to change the menus and make it more sense. So that I got to say, with Premiere, all of the Adobe software, the menus as they evolve, as the tools evolve, and the functionality that we have expands, the menus are full.
Yeah.
And I think this is what probably drove your decision to, as a pet project, to have the paths of logic work better. So Matt, let's just do a quick overview about what we're going to do today, the different topics that you have, and then launch into the first one, if that would be okay.
And just so you know, the link to Kylie's video on Facebook at the moment, I've just popped that into the chat. So if anyone wants to go and look at Kylie's, if you've not seen it already, go and have a look. It's a pretty good thing she's done. So yeah, Kyle, carry on, please do, mate.
No, it's Matt. So Matt, tell us what are we doing today, and launch into the first topic if you would. Thanks.
Well, I just saw someone in the comments say hello from Mannheim, so I had to shout out a fellow Germany resident on the chat here. So that's great. So basically, it's been a busy couple weeks on my end and with my team and a lot of the Premiere Pro team. We've got like 4 or 5 really cool features that just went to beta all at once. So we have an ambitious, plan ahead of us. Basically, we can talk about any of them or go into depth on some and not talk about others. Anything's fair game as far as I'm concerned, but it's a fun time to be playing in the Premiere Pro beta.
So are all of the things you're going to be showing us beta?
Yes.
So Kyle, you just wanted to think. So, and I'm sure Christine will want to say about beta. Adobe rely upon people when you have time, only if you have time. We're not asking people to give up work and deadlines, but when you have time, jumping into beta is really important. Do you want to take it from there, Kyle?
Well, I was going to thank you. Here's the deal. The word we get from members is, why am I paying for software if I'm being asked to provide free insight on beta? Now, and I'll share why. It takes a village to raise software. It really does. I mean, honestly, the lab can only iterate so many setups, so many computer systems. And so when you share your insight of your system, your particular arrangement of plugins and hardware and software and OS, and you share it with the beta team, that means that not only are you helping them expand their sample for developing the software, but when you give them help and then you go, something's not working, they're the first one to come back and go, that guy helped. That woman, she was like, that editor helped us. Would you provide some feedback? The engineers are more willing to come and help you, quicker as well. So it's a family thing, really. And that's what I encourage everybody to contribute to the beta philosophy. In the early days, beta was not something if you want to break a machine, go beta. Now, beta is adding functionality that is on the the surface, the crest of the wave of development, whether it's transcripts, whether it's searching for audio. Christine, you know more than I. You're working in broadcast, like in theatrical and big projects. That gamble to use beta is a tough one, right?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What I wanted to say was, it's one of the biggest things I want to tell people is that I don't know if people who are newer to the application know this, or people who haven't used beta, even if they've been using Premiere for decades, you can install the beta and still keep your other regular public version active. And you can keep all the public versions active from the past. So depending on your operating system, I should say, there's some caveats, but I think I have like 8 versions of Premiere on my machine. I'm not kidding. And because I have certain projects ongoing, like long documentaries that are featured that go on for a long time versus just clients who might be on a different operating system using a different version of the software. And so you can play with the betas to see the new features that are coming and try things out and still go ahead and keep the existing public version active. Just go into the settings and make sure it's, not deleting anything older if you're going to keep multiple older Premiere.
And just on that note, if you install a beta, it won't destroy anything you've got there already. Your other locked down Premiere version, whichever it is, will carry on working regardless. However, using beta, I know that last year I had a really big project where I needed to identify a lot of B-roll footage. The B-roll footage, the media search wasn't available in the full version, but it was available in beta. And guess what? I just did the media search there. I did a pancake edit, copied between the things, and then that was me done. So beta does have some advantages, even for people that are using current versions and don't want to mess around too much. So we encourage you to go and do that. The other thing
I want to speak to what Anthony just said in the chat, and from Adobe's perspective, this is why we think you should use beta if you feel so inclined. You get direct input on the features we build.
Yeah.
Every major feature that goes into beta has a forum post that gets announced on the beta forum, and multiple people at Adobe read every one of those comments. We discuss them internally if there's an idea we hadn't thought of or a concern we hadn't realized. So if that interests you, that's the reason to use it. If that doesn't interest you, don't use beta. It's fine, right? No one's forcing you or trying to shame you into it. But that's sort of the benefit. And then we on the Adobe side, we get that input, but also to the point that Kyle mentioned, we get thousands and thousands of people trying out the software, trying out the new stuff on hardware configurations that we internally can't test all of them.
And whilst we're doing all this, and we're about to go into Matt giving us some more in depth on this, I'm sure we'll have lots of questions. If you can just hi Neil, our Neil, great to see you in here. Great to see all you other guys and gals in here as well. I just want to pop up. This is our sponsor message here on the bottom right. So we are sponsored by LucidLink and Digital Anarchy, who help us put this show on the road, fund our being able to do this. These things aren't cheap, by the way. We're not sponsored by Adobe. And that's that's absolutely fine. We are an independent voice with, as you know, we're editors, distinctly separate user group from Adobe, but we have a really good relationship, and I think the way you guys are in the group and the way the group is running just keeps everything ticking over really well, and it's why all the Adobe guys and gals come in to our group. So listen, thank you for being here, Matt. Great to see you, Christine. You Emmy Award-winning person, you. And by the way, that pose.
Because of Adobe, all of those awards I was cutting on Premiere, by the way.
So many of us owe our careers to Adobe.
Matt,
so look,
can you turn up your mic just a hair? Neil had said that it was quiet. You are a little quieter.
I can turn it up whilst we're doing this if you would like, Matt.
If you have a knob.
Yeah, I have a way of doing that. Let me do that. Here we go. Right, I'm just going to turn it up a bit, and there we go. Try that.
How's that? Am I louder?
It's a little better. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be fine. No, it's fine. It's good. So, shall we get into this? What about the new Premiere menus? Let's talk about this. Well done. Thank you, Neil, Mr. Who.
Thanks, Neil. Good hit for Digital Anarchy and LucidLink. Yeah, we wouldn't do this without you guys. We appreciate it. And okay, so Matt. Let's cut to the shit. We're 18 minutes into the shit, and we haven't talked about what we're supposed to talk about. Other than, beta and in philosophy and all that. The first item up for bid is
new Premiere menus.
Matt, Premiere menus.
Yeah. Share my
Why don't you
screen.
demo that?
You guys,
I can add you to
I'm
the
curious,
stage.
Christine and everybody, you said you had tried it. What do you think? Before I give you my
We love it. I'm going to take this full screen for a moment so we can see what this is about. So just give us a quick show and tell.
Yeah. So the idea behind this was, and as you mentioned, this was a pet project of mine. Again, I think one of my strengths that hopefully you guys can appreciate is like I come from being an editor and working in post, and I really try to push for features that are the kind of things that I wish Premiere had, from the outside. I'm not a manager. I don't get to make some of the big, big money calls, but there's a lot of ability within our organization to suggest and promote and work on those features. So I took that opportunity to build this feature, which isn't really a feature so much as like a cleanup, right? And the thing that always bothered me was that some of the menus in Premiere Pro were long, and that has a number of pile-on effects. Obviously, on a small screen, they scroll, and that's just a complete non-starter in terms of a user interface paradigm, because things are never in the same place. Is the thing that you want at the top of the menu, at the bottom of the menu, you're always scrolling. No good. But even if you're on a big monitor, I'm usually working on a 5K or sometimes two 4K monitors. Some of our menu items that were the same items, like file properties, were at the top of this menu and the bottom of this menu, or put in a submenu here, but not in a submenu here, or didn't exist in this menu when they really should, but existed over here. And so the goal of this project, which was very ambitious, was like, what can we do to improve all of the menus in Premiere? And so I devised a system. I cataloged every menu, except for the really tiny ones. I ignored the ones that were like less than 10 items. And I basically said, here's how we should clean them up. So it was a lot of work.
Okay, so I'm going to add you to your desktop. Perfect. Okay, could you show us what you're talking about? We're all visual learners here.
Totally. Well, and as a little treat, I actually have my spreadsheet document that I use to like do the work before I then did them, because editing the menus in the code is kind of tedious, and it wouldn't work to like change it and then try it. So what I did is I used Apple Numbers, which is one of my favorite spreadsheet programs. I don't know if you all have a favorite spreadsheet program, but one of the things that I like about Numbers is that instead of just being a big spreadsheet like Excel, you can have multiple spreadsheets. So like this thing is a spreadsheet and this thing is a spreadsheet, right? And they all kind of are independent. But what I did here, if I zoom out and we do...
Forget Excel. That's sweet.
You can kind of see these are every menu that I went through and cataloged. Wow. And basically what you're looking at is this left-hand one is what was there. And then the right-hand one next to it is what it now is with the new menus. And so you can kind of see, if we zoom into like 200%, I color-coded each command in the menu as like, what kind of thing is it doing? This is opening something. This is doing media management. This is making a new thing. This is, modifying a property. So I kind of did all this. And then I just said, this should be the ideal ordering. So every menu is now going to essentially defragment these colors, if you remember defragmenting your hard drive, right? So that these colors are always in the same order in every menu, and in every potential situation where things could be collapsed into a submenu, do that. So a great example is these guys right here. These are all video actions. Are we changing a frame hold? Are we doing field options? Are we doing fit to frame, etc.? And so in the new menu, those are all put under video actions. And so that's what I'm showing here. So I hope it kind of makes sense.
It actually makes perfect
what's going
sense.
on in the spreadsheet. So I did it all here in the spreadsheet, moving things around, whatever, then went and applied it to the code because that was the only way to do it. So for example, here in Premiere Pro, if I right click on a sequence, we have this nice, easy, short menu that doesn't scroll. If I go down to the timeline, we have some AV clips. This nice menu doesn't scroll. Here's the video actions. So all of these used to just be, dumped into a huge thing.
Wow.
And, I probably should open.
Yeah, I always have to use my roller to get down to the menus that were like had drawn off of my monitor.
Yeah, exactly.
Does this mean that can I ask a quick question? Does this mean that the GUI text will be able to be increased in size?
That is a completely separate.
Honestly.
Sorry,
You couldn't let it lie, could you? You couldn't let it lie.
Here I've got it's best to kind of show it in comparison, right? So here's
So let's go back to that. Here we go. Let's just.
Oh, you took off.
There we go.
Here's the current release version, and if I right click, this is on a 5K monitor how tall that menu would be, right? So not
Wow.
only do you have to see it all, you have to kind of understand and remember where the thing you wanted was. And then here's that same menu in the new menus. And it's always that
Wow.
exact height. It's always,
That's cool.
things are in the exact same place. So that was the goal. Is it going to make some things uncomfortable? Yeah. Is it perfect? No. Right? And to go back to our beta discussion, that's why it's in beta. We need to hear from people. Bigger picture things, do you like it, do you not like it? Smaller picture things like, hey, this one menu item really should be not in a submenu, or it really should be here, right? Like, I am by no means perfect or infallible, and that's what beta's for. That's why
Oh, I
I'll give
don't
you my
know,
quick
Matt.
push
feedback
this
on
into
it.
beta.
I'll give you my
I
quick
don't
feedback.
know, Matt. You're pretty perfect.
Yeah, perfectly pretty. I have to say, my instant reaction from it, I was like, I went in, I was in the beta, and I'm editing. I'm like, where did that go?
Yeah.
I was able to find stuff quickly. Whatever, like the logic path that you gave to what the group of actions are,
Right.
made sense, and I could find it quickly. It took me a second to figure it out, but it wasn't difficult. So thanks. Good
One
job.
thing that I'm glad to hear that, but that we are always concerned about is new users, right? We want to keep some number of Premiere users leave, and we want to keep more coming than leaving. And so we're always looking at what are the hard, sharp corners as you learn Premiere. One of the sharp corners was you right-clicked on a clip in the timeline and you went, oh my God, this is not for me, right? Now when you right-click, first of all, you're only seeing like 28, 29 things instead of almost 60. And you now have a chance to understand, oh, okay, these are video actions. All right, let me kind of poke around here. Oh, these are audio actions, right? These are multi-camera. These are media actions. So it's giving you little breadcrumbs. And I think that's what you picked up on, Kyle, which you obviously don't need them. You know what everything in the menu does, but they still help a lot to just kind of like remember what's in there.
So I want to make 2 points, if I may. The first is, this is great, but it is beta, and so anyone that wishes to go and check the beta, your input on this will feed directly into how this works in the delivered product. This is yes, it is the legendary Christine Steele. Yay! So that's the first and point 1.5 as well, which is the legendary Christine Steele. The second point I want to make, there has been some chat coming up here, which we did cover last week, but not all of you have seen that. So the GUI text issue, we've talked about that, and we had a really, really considered response from Kylie Pena, which was, and I completely get it, which is that Adobe have known about this for a while. There was a cheat code which was for a console which shouldn't have been exposed but was, and when they cleaned up some code it disappeared, so people weren't able to change it. And the truth is they've said they kind of took their eye off the ball on this. They are going to be working on it, but just making that change to the whole code base is not an insubstantial thing to do. They are now on it. It's going to the top of the priority list. It's something they are going to be working on. It may take some time, because guess what? When you change GUI fonts, when you allow changes to GUI fonts, if you do it in Premiere, people are going to want to do it in Photoshop, Illustrator, AE, all of them. So this is going to be across the board. So
I will say,
let me just finish this. So I just want to make sure that you understand that Adobe have got this. They've heard you loud and clear. And I think, as you can see with most of the stuff they're working on, they are now going to get to this quite when, we don't know. But it has been taken on board.
I think when you talk about accessibility, it's important to recognize what Adobe's already done. That they have a dedicated department for accessibility. They've been developing. There are people who have been contributing to accessibility needs. And, the contrast update for, maybe you can explain a little bit about that, Matt, about that efforts to increase contrast for accessibility. Those are the steps that started this. And so Matt, how did that process go of looking at accessibility?
Yeah, I think the thing to understand, if, it can be confusing if you don't have any experience in programming or software development, why some things that seem difficult come out really quickly, and why some things that seem easy take forever, or someone says is hard, right? Like, oh, just change the font size. Why is that hard? It's sort of like, I was trying to think of an analogy. It's a little bit like if you built a house and lived in it for 25, 30 years, and then you said, you know, we built with, excuse me, because I don't know woods very well, but like say we built with oak. What if the house was using maple instead? Wouldn't that be better? How would you go about changing the wood that the house was built with, right? That's a little bit what it's like to say, let's make the application able to dynamically scale fonts. And I'm not saying that to say that it's an excuse or a reason not to, but it is not easy. And I don't want to derail the whole thing with like in-depth corporate and technical reasons why it's not easy, but it is a challenging thing.
But I think the message there is it's systemic. It's a change that would have to be systemic and across the entire product range. Christine, what have you got any thoughts about that, by the way?
I have a question for Matt. First of all, I mean, my comment is, so far, I haven't played with it extensively. This is new. I felt so far my initial impression was it's so much cleaner and it makes so much more logical, reasonable sense when you're looking for what something does, and it's all grouped with other things that do that same thing. You know, this makes something new, or, you know, I'm looking for that. I do feel like, Matt, you know, in the past, when you answer technical questions for me, I perceive you as a really great systems thinker. And I feel like I can see that approach, the thought that you put into this in terms of grouping. It is hard to retrain, especially when we're teaching, you know, and you feel like you're flailing because you can't find something. But I also agree with Kyle. It felt pretty logical to find something fairly quickly. What I wanted to ask, and have not explored that much yet, is the correlation between the menus and what you find there and all of the submenus. Previously, you could find the same thing in 3 different locations, and that became a little troublesome. Students often have a difficult time, you know, is it in the settings wrench, or is it in the hamburger, you know, pull down menu? Is it in a top menu? I wondered if you also made any changes or plan to the primary menus in terms of grouping things in this more logical way.
When you say primary, do you mean the application level ones at the top?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were part of it, absolutely.
Okay.
And in a couple places, I believe I added menu items that were only in context menus that should have been there, right? The tricky thing is Premiere has its own user interface paradigm, and then it lives on Mac and it lives on Windows, which have their interface paradigms, right? And so it has to kind of like play with both. The deal is that menus in a given panel, so like the timeline panel, you right click on a clip, or the project panel, you right click on a clip. Those have items in the menus that are things that that panel knows how to do, right? And so sometimes there's the same things, but sometimes there's different things. And then the application menus on top, those are divided by type of thing. So clip, sequence, marker, etc., right? They're independent of panels. And so those menus have a different combination of all of those other things. And they enable and disable some of the items depending on which panel has focus. So it's actually kind of an insane mix, right? When you factor all that in, you're like, how does it all work together? But that was a big goal as part of this. So like if you can share my screen again, Kyle, I can show you an example.
Copy that, coming in. There you go.
If I go to the clip menu here, when I have the program monitor up, most things aren't lit up, right? If I go to the project panel and I have a sequence selected, I go to the clip menu. These are things I can do against that sequence, right? If I go to the timeline and I select this video clip and now I go to clip, these are things I can do to that video clip. And so the top level ones are kind of the most dynamic because they're always there and they're just responding to which panel has focus and what is selected within that panel. And so it's a lot. Right?
The only thing that's going to trip me up a little bit is, so I often forget when I'm editing, not when I'm teaching, but when I'm editing and I'm in that mindset, I'm really a heavy user of keyboard shortcuts. But, you know, when I'm teaching, I immediately help people to remap some things so that they can utilize mental memory tricks and have certain things available quickly at their fingertips. But it's great when you're first learning and setting new keyboard shortcuts to quickly be able to go to the main menu and look at what the shortcut is that you set or that was set. I am seeing now that more of that's hidden because they're more into the actions. They're in a different.
Because they're in submenus.
Yes. So yeah, that's like so minor, but it just is something I noticed.
No, there's. It's not that this is like a no casualties improvement, right? Like some things are better and some things are. Keep in mind too, on Windows, those don't even show in the menus anyway. So there's.
Right.
But I also spent like one day fixing the accelerator keys on Windows. If you're not familiar with those, which is where in Windows when you hold the Alt key, it puts an underline on the menu, and then you can hit that letter and it opens it. And you can, kind of like navigate the menus.
Yeah.
I had to redo all of those in the new
Oh my gosh.
because they were all dependent on you don't want to have duplicates, right? And so a lot of our menu items didn't have accelerators because they were so long that we already used A, we already used B, right? Now that things were tucked into submenus, we could use them more, but they had to be all redone and tested.
Right. Does it help with making macros better? Like, so would you be able to program a series of commands more better now? Because you can go
more better.
This,
more better.
More better. Spike Lee.
I mean, potentially, if your macro on Windows was using the accelerator key system to navigate to those, potentially, yeah. Because now many more of the menu items on Windows have accelerator keys where they didn't before.
We're all editors, so we really understand the pain of change the file path, everything breaks, right?
Yeah.
So you had to go fix every one of those. That you're a hero. I mean, those of us on Mac primarily aren't going to feel that, but it is something that is really handy, especially at Macs when we're teaching an entire lab full of people on PCs. That can't break when you're live like that. Thank you for fixing that. I had planned to show.
One of the key things that I made sure to do is I didn't move anything to a different menu, right?
Okay.
If it was in the clip menu before, I didn't say, well, it belongs in edit or vice versa. So everything is still in the same menu. It's just that they're put into submenus is the worst case.
Right. Just a quick housekeeping note. Kyle, we can't post links in the chat here in StreamYard. It doesn't like them. So they have to be posted on YouTube directly. If you want to post those for me in the private chat or on YouTube yourself, then I'll just make sure they end up there. I've been putting them there anyway. So people should have all of those links. If you want any links, just let us know. We'll make sure they're there.
Thanks.
So
we'll follow up with more
Can
links.
I maybe
stuff later.
suggest I get one more point in about the new menus and then we move on to different.
Yeah. Carry on.
This is all about like you telling us what's great. Yep. Whatever you want to do, Matt. Like let us know.
Share my screen again then.
Okay, coming in. Andrew, you want to do it or shall I?
What?
There you go. There's your screen.
Okay, so this is current Premiere, right? That I was kind of showing you before. One of my pet peeves was always the timeline wrench menu.
Can you make that larger?
There we go.
The window larger, please.
More bigger.
So I'm clicking on the timeline wrench.
Yeah, more bigger.
And the question is always like, okay, we got some separators, but we got show clip markers, show through edits, show effects badges, show sequence label color. It's all just kind of a junk drawer, right? Like,
Hey, Matt, can you make it bigger?
Yeah.
Can you please make it bigger?
Not really, because
Or
that's not going to
maximize
make
it
the
if you
menu
can.
bigger. But that's not going to make this any bigger.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Point is, we all know this menu. You guys know it. The point is that, like, if you wanted to say turn on waveforms or turn off proxy badges or something, you basically just have to kind of like parse this list, right? And be like, okay, what's in there? In the new menus, because we have submenus, you just get this. And actually,
Very
I can
cool.
zoom in. That should come
Nice.
across.
Oh,
Wow.
you are that is brilliant. Thank you.
And so this
Awesome.
is now the entirety of the wrench menu, but you can see at a glance, am I changing something about the video appearance? Okay, that's in here. Am I changing something about audio appearance? That's in here. Track height? That's in here. Timeline view options? That's in here. So again, for new users, or even if you just rarely change something and then go to look for it, the idea is you should be able to find it a lot faster.
That's really
great
cool,
work.
Matt.
That's
brilliant. Really cool.
Now, is anyone like me where, I mean, I don't know if this is just specific to my teaching or if people change their shortcuts. would other people, like I would want to see that shortcut if you've mapped or remapped it next to that name in your submenu?
Explain
Yeah,
that some
yeah.
more.
Just like
Sorry,
what it looks like, just what it looks like in the primary, application menus, where if you have a keyboard shortcut mapped, you see that in a lighter gray. Right
I
next
see what
to
you mean.
it.
Yeah.
I want those in the submenus because,
Yeah.
yeah. Does anyone
The-
else want that? Or, I mean, is that just me?
Essentially,
No one wants
whenever
that.
they
That's a terrible
appear,
idea.
in whichever menu they appear, wherever they appear, if it appears several times, you always want that wrench mode.
For
You always
example,
not the wrench.
turn on audio waveforms. If that's mapped in your keyboard shortcuts, you see the little icon. You've got it to
Yeah.
Shift W or whatever you've chosen to remap it to. You
So, here's
see
the
that
answer to
icon
that.
next to it, so that you,
Yeah.
because mentally, if you go there, and this is when I'm training people to increase their speed and efficiency, I'm like, look, if you're coming to this menu, pay attention to this, because after a while, you no longer ever have to go back to that menu because you've seen that shortcut so many times. It's almost like you subconsciously now know and your fingers do it, or at least
Sweet.
that's what it feels like to me. And I do think that I try to help people get to that point,
Matt.
The little secret here is that those keyboard shortcuts in the menus are something we get completely for free from the Mac operating system.
Okay.
Right? So we, as the application,
Don't write
once
it.
we register the keyboard shortcuts, the Mac just goes, I'm going to put these in here because you told me this. Is that system doesn't exist for context menus. So even if you go into the Finder, for example, and you go under Edit and you see Copy, it'll say Command C. Now right click on a folder in Finder and look at Copy. There's no Command C there. So
Okay.
we would have to wholesale build it, is the thing, is all I'm saying. It's not that it's
You're
impossible.
probably
We can
not
make-
going to do that, because I'm someone who's always wanted it. When I mouse over something and you give me tooltips and everything,
Yeah.
I want it to say the keyboard shortcut, because after a while you just now know the key. And if you've mapped it, you see.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing: we know that at some point there's going to be a major overhaul of the UI and fonts and everything else. Maybe this would be a part of that, where you just have to rewrite that whole thing. Which, if you're going to do it for everything else, you might just do that. So that's, by the way, folks, why these things aren't just let's just make the fonts bigger or smaller or different. There's
Matt's
all this
favorite
other
phrase,
stuff.
Can't you just?
Yeah. But these things may well come, and especially if you participate in the betas and if you get in touch and jump in on these kinds of conversations, make your thoughts known. It really helps. Anyway, we're losing time here.
It's good. This is good stuff. What I will say is that all Adobe software, it's difficult to remember every path of action that you need. There are times when I'm like, where is that menu? Where Illustrator and Photoshop, I've operated them for 30 years and I still can't remember process that I've done a bunch of times. If there was an AI tool to say that I could just type in, I want to do this, change the waveforms, increase the waveforms.
A little help field. A
A paperclip.
Yeah, but that's already there.
It is already there, but not. It's not intuitively there. It's you go to the help menu in Apple, and it's just it gives you Apple menu help and gets you to a website. There's nothing embedded within the GUI architecture that gives me AI Clippy.
AI Clippy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I just is it. It just would be good. I would love it.
AI Clippy, that's cool. I don't think they're probably going to do that, but that's a great request. Maybe you should.
Yeah, it is.
I know. I've got some young students that are incredible at coding. Maybe we should talk to them and get them to work with. Who's the guy who does all the plugins at Adobe? Get that to be a plugin.
Well, I think one of the things that's a lot of the interesting discussions we have internally, because obviously, what if AI assistant in Premiere, right? Like everyone's been talking about it and asking for it or asking to please not build it, etc. One of the things that is kind of interesting in the state of the art right now is agents kind of at the platform level that are just watching your screen and doing things based on your request, but they're doing things via like mouse and keyboard input rather than scripting or anything like that, essentially driving the computer, right? And if that technology comes to pass, huge if, right? I'm very skeptical. There's all kinds of things we could talk about. You wouldn't want an AI agent in each program. You would want it at the computer level, right?
System
And
level,
so
yeah.
ideally your AI agent would know how to drive Premiere, but it would also know how to drive Finder and your browser and all these other things, right? You wouldn't want to lock it away inside each app. So I don't know, just something to keep in mind.
It could be in the Adobe ecosystem as a whole. So when you're trying to go between After Effects and Premiere, for example, let's keep that.
Yeah, but what if you use a non-Adobe app?
Well, true, and maybe there's an extension for that. But even baby steps. Being able to solve an issue between After Effects and dynamic linking with regards to an embedded within Premiere. Those of us who have explored how to fix that and gone, oh, geez, I just got to open up the After Effects file and re-enable it or update this. Anything like that would be helpful. Basically, searching through the menus to find stuff, steps that we need to make, all that stuff is perfect for an AI augmented workflow.
And this is a really good step forward. And I know that Matt's going to be hearing all of this. And I guess Matt's work on this on Prem will also be thought about and considered very deeply by all the other managers dealing with Photoshop, Illustrator, etc. Listen, there is just one more thing I wanted to say before we move on, because we do need to move on. Time is passing very fast here, which is one of the reasons we're doing these live streams. APPE-TV is just so that we can have these conversations, and these conversations do feed back into what's going on with to what's being thought about in Adobe. They won't necessarily give you exactly what you want, but they are taken on board and considered. So please do participate. We're doing these every week at this time, with courtesy of our sponsors. And if you like and subscribe down below, by the way, that helps us keep this all running. Just jump on board and take part. These are great conversations to have. And with that, I think it's time to move on to whatever is next.
May I suggest, on the AI note, search. Would that be a good transition, Matt? For because that's really it's an AI augmented workflow is searching for additional. Or what would you like to start with? It's up to you, Matt.
No, let's talk about that. I was actually just going to pull up my projects.
And add to stage. Here we are.
All right. So I don't know if any of you guys have tried the search panel.
Yes.
Have you guys
Yeah.
tried the search panel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. One of the new things that just went into beta with the search panel is support for audio search. So
Can you zoom in
here?
Oh yeah, sweet.
So previously, you could do visuals and text and metadata, and we've added audio search now as well.
Sweet.
So there's
That's
two
so
places
useful.
where I think this is killer, and man, I would have killed for this when I was an editor. One is finding things in your footage, right? An example I give is like maybe you're dealing with a commencement speech or something like that you just received, and you just want to see like where did people do applause, right? Type in applause and see all the places where the applause was. Honestly, more is just like a navigational part. Okay, this was the middle point of the speech, so this was the end or whatever like that. The other obvious thing is sound effects search, right? With the audio search, the same way that with visuals, you just described what the frame was. It didn't matter what the file name was or any metadata tags. The same with audio, right? Mm-hmm. So we've all been there searching sound effects libraries. You start to get to know them over the years as you stick with them. Like, oh, it calls this a whoosh, but it calls that a swoosh, right? Or this is a whip, and that's a crack. Or this is a clack
or
and
swish.
A clack. With audio search, you just describe what you want. So I have a whole bunch of sound effects already imported here. And I'll just type in swish. And here they are. You can audition them right here.
I love it. I have those on my
And I think
library.
The important thing to note here is actually, so in these examples, I added swish at the end as part of our test data set because it's a long story, but the actual file name was weapon staff whip01.wave. So I would have never found it if I was just searching for file name for swish, right? I would have had to know my library and know that like, oh, over in the weapons category, there's like a whip sound. I just typed switch and I'm getting tons of them. And actually my favorite thing as I've been doing as I've tested this is, let me make a new sequence. And
while you're doing that, I just want to say it would be nice to be able to have a threshold of like where it presents all like additional contextual items. Sometimes it's like, I didn't ask for that. Why are you giving me so many? So if you could adjust a threshold of perception that it's presenting.
These are ranked and sorted by relevance, right?
Okay.
So that's already built in, and if after 6 or 7 you're like, these aren't worth it, don't
I
listen
will
to
say
anything
for
lower.
sound effects, the duration was a nice touch. Thank you.
Yeah, that was really good. Really, really good.
And I have 2 requests, Matt. Will you let me know when it's time, or are you still? I think.
Yeah, I just want to show you one thing. So an even quicker way to try out all these swishes, this is my favorite, Command A, right click, insert.
Yes.
And now I just put all of those into the timeline.
Yeah.
And you can see it even found some of these are from other projects I have opened, and that's why the video came with. So what I'm gonna do real quick is close, let's undo, and I'm gonna close my demo project so that it won't find them. Okay, so now it only finds 31 results. So I'll take these, drag them all into my timeline, and now I can audition these just by listening. So if I just wanna hear all these swishes, just hit play. Ooh, that one was really good, right? And boom, here I go. This is the one I want. So it's a really quick and interesting way to audition your sound effects. And I think the audio search is great. People are going to love it.
Sounds like the soundtrack for the Golf Masters movie. There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Christine, you had a question.
Well, first I want to honor something that is happening in this new panel that I freaking love, and then I'll make my requests for more Can't You Just features. What Matt just showed, when you're searching for video, if there's in and out marks and you do that insert to the timeline, it honors the in and outs. So if you've pre-set up, like I do usually, an in and an out for the best part of a series of, repeated actions or whatever, you are going to be able to insert all those different selects that you've already marked when it finds the close up on kicking the ball or whatever. So I really loved that it worked that way. My 2 feature requests, as much as I've played with this so far, I'm sure I'll have more, are when you just showed swish. I'm wondering if it's possible, since for example, if I work at a place and I have hundreds of thousands of sound effects already organized by whooshes, hits, body slams, claps, walking, crunching in snow, I want it to call up the folder that has that. And then be able to just grab that folder, if the bin, basically, the folder of items, whether it's from the Finder level or from the project. I don't even care because I set them up the same way, but that was something I wondered. And the second one was, I'm not saying I want the marker panels to go away because all the new features there are also rocking, and I'm a marker user, and I've been a marker user since I was using locators in Avid for 20 years. So the marker thing, when we have markers on shots, is it possible for this media intelligence panel to also search markers here in addition to in the marker panel?
Yeah. That's the fun part about building the search panel. And again, it's something that I wanted as an editor for the longest time, even without media intelligence, right? Yeah. I want to search all the transcripts across my project. I want to search all the markers across my project. So that's one of the goals of the search panel, is anything that you can search that's right now cloistered away in a single panel, or maybe dependent on a particular sequence, that the search panel can search across that for you. So we don't have that yet, but absolutely that's something we'd like to build.
And so as far as folders, bins, is folders and bins too big of an ask?
Well, if you want to find a specific folder, I still think project panel search is going to be the fastest to find that folder. But if you found one of those weapon swishes, you can always right-click reveal in project and get to that folder that way.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
while
And
we're
forgive
talking
me,
about search panel,
productions, like what's the, how's that work with productions? Is it just an extra project?
you mean the search panel or audio search?
Well, if the project isn't open and you need to get the assets and you're not using a man, is there a solution?
Not from us, not yet.
Next
I like the look you gave there. That was not from us just yet.
What did that mean? What did that mean?
It's been discussed, thought about.
It means he
We'll
can't
hear.
speak about it. He could tell us, but he'd have to kill us.
No, let's.
I mean, much like the UI scaling thing, from the day we launched productions, we knew that not being able to search the entirety of the closed projects was a shortcoming of it. Much like the text scaling, there's very good technical reasons, and then there's also political reasons why that's still the case. So we know is all I can say.
Well, Avid
So
editors, the Avid bins is Adobe's answer is productions with projects, right? A project is a bin, in the equivalency of Avid land.
And it's not the same, but it is a small step forward that the search panel will search all open projects. So you can, even if you have 10 media projects, select them in the production panel, open them, and then do your search, right?
So
It's not the
so
same,
whilst we're
but it's an improvement.
whilst we're talking about searches, I see you also have new find similar search. What's the deal with
That's
that?
what I want to show next.
Cool.
This has been a big request. So show me my screen, please, Kyle.
No.
That's your screen?
Yeah.
There we
So
go.
this has been a big request with the visual search, right? So if I am searching for close-up
you zoom in?
astronaut,
Sort of.
maybe I'm looking at my visual results here, and I really like the fact that this one is a close-up on the eye. So I'll zoom in a little bit.
Thank you.
What we've added in beta now is that you can right-click and do search similar frames.
You didn't spell astronaut right, and it still found it. I love it.
Isn't that great?
Wow.
And so search similar frames, you can see it took my query out of the search box and put the name of the clip in there because now we're searching for that. That's now your search. And now I'm getting shots that are more visually similar to that. You'll see even like this shot here isn't from the astronaut footage. It's not an astronaut, but it is close-up human eye, kind of visually, structurally similar. Another way you can get at this, which is actually my favorite, is there's a new button in the program monitor. And that's this guy down here. It doesn't have a tooltip yet, but it will soon. And so even if the search panel is closed, you can park on a frame that you like. Okay, I want to see maybe, do we have any more of the two shot like this? I click that button, search panel opens.
Now, you didn't have the video clip selected. It knew
yeah.
what you wanted. Is that
It's
because your
taking-
track
it's
targeting is
taking the
on?
Composite, it's taking the composite frame of the program monitor as
Okay.
the input.
So
Wow.
you don't have to have track targeting on. You don't have to have the clip selected.
No,
It
and
knows.
in
Okay,
fact,
awesome.
I can go over black and I can still do it. And I find the other parts that are black.
It's searching visually. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. From the program. That's
And so
really, really cool.
This is long requested and super useful, right? Do we have any other close-ups of the map like this? Looks like we don't, right? That's the one clip. Do we have anything else that looks like him holding the thing?
Dude,
These
that
look
is
similar, but really
crazy
it's only the
cool,
one
man.
that's holding that. So find similar visuals. So yeah, the audio search and the find similar visuals are in the search panel now and super useful. I would have killed for this so many times when I was an editor.
Do we
yeah.
have a link that has that a help file on that specifically that we can share with everyone?
In the
So,
beta
'cause
forums
it-
that I showed you before, there is a post showing off both of these. Yeah, in one
Well,
post.
I've
Okay,
put
I
that link
think-
already in the
I
YouTube
will
chat.
add
We'll
to
post
stage.
it again at the
Is
end.
this it? Is this it?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So,
So
that's the
we'll
best.
post.
Sorry, that's the best source of information for people. This one. Cool.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
So we'll pop that back in the search in the hello. What have you done now? There we go. We'll pop that back in the search in the chat so that you can find it, and we'll also pop it in all of these links. We'll pop onto the group as well, so you have all of these in a post thing. So for you, Christine, you've just seen this visual search, find similar.
Yeah.
What do you love? Do you like that at all?
I
Even
mean,
slightly?
I've been using this for a little while now, and and the reason I've been using this for a little while now is the first time I played with it, I was already hooked. Like, you had me at click a button, and I want a key command for that. So, I just feel like it's what Matt said. We've been wanting this from day one as editors. I need to see all the shots that look like this. I need to see all the takes that are containing this type of content.
And preferably that key command would be universal, so no matter which panel you're on, it's going to be looking at what's displaying on the project manager.
Yes, because
project manager.
that's something I do that takes time at least once, is going into multiple panel keyboard shortcuts and making a same or similar keyboard shortcut to behave the same way when I have different panels selected. And that's always been annoyance, but you only have to do it one time and then you're good. So yeah, it would be nice if you guys did that for us, and we got a single key command or combo, and it just worked everywhere. That'd be really nice.
Yeah, that would be good.
I was doing a peruse through the available keyboard shortcuts, and I was gonna go with not mapped by default, just because there wasn't a clear, obvious one that was available for us to make the default. Right. But yeah, obviously we'll have a command that you'll be able to map to whichever key you like.
Well, it's interesting because I was thinking about what I'll map it to, but I already used almost all of these, including the modifier keys. Is that I'm a big, so one of the things that I map in every panel is a reveal key. Reveal in the project, reveal in the Finder, and they're all taking up similar spaces. But for me, this is another reveal feature.
Oh, why haven't I done that? I mean, why haven't I done that?
I love it.
No, I'll do it. I'm going to do it. As soon as we get off this call, I'm going to. Why haven't I done reveal?
Watch you do it right now.
Yeah, I do. And I do reveal everywhere, and it's one of the things. I'll teach it at Max again. It's like I repeat it because people don't realize, just as a concept, you can take a key you already know, which I do, that's already pre-programmed, and then go to every other panel and get any similar thought process, similar feature, and map it to the exact same key, because once you've selected a different panel, it overrides, which is genius. I don't know who came up with that, but I like that it works that way.
Well, I want you to demo it. I want to see you show us it. Honestly,
we'll do that.
We don't have time today, but we can.
Next, maybe with you and John Knowles talking just about training. What are the top training questions and like challenges? That would be awesome. We don't have a lot of time left. We're kind of over the hour on right now, but I don't want to miss out.
Given that we started late, we can run. Are you two okay for another 5 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Christine?
I really wanted to show off censoring the transcript. That was my thing.
I have a question for you on that one. But what I would love to see is the import-export transcript tool. Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Let's do that. Do you have time?
That one's more of a talkie than a demo one, but happy to talk about it. Talk. Speak, man. So the idea is, we've always heard from people, hey, I use transcription tool XYZ, or because it's better, right? Like it does better with the terms, or it's more accurate, or whatever, or I use it because it supports a language Premiere doesn't support. How can I get that into Premiere Pro? And so the new transcript format, when we say JSON, that's JSON in all caps, we say JSON. That is a data format that represents the transcript at a word level timecode. And that's the key for text-based editing, right? It's one thing to just import the transcript and then now you can see it. But if you want to do text-based editing, the Premiere needs to know the exact microsecond time codes that each word was said. And that's been the missing link, and why for text-based editing you had to transcribe within Premiere. So what we've done now is we've said, okay, let's publish this spec that Adobe or Premiere is publishing. And if other people can write to this spec, so other transcription tools can output in this JSON format, you'll be able to bring that right into Premiere. So we're working with partners on that. Alternatively, you as an individual, or if you work with a team who has someone who's comfortable writing scripts, with the JSON spec, you'll be able to write a Python script either yourself or using an LLM to help you do it, that can translate your transcript format into our JSON spec. I see you're sharing the screen there. If you scroll down a little bit at the bottom of the post, the JSON spec is attached there as a little attachment. Obviously, when it goes to release, we'll have it more formally documented, but that's where it lives for now.
Okay.
And so that's the deal with this, is you'll be able to import this. And if you import the transcript in this format, you'll be able to do text-based editing. You'll get captions that are correctly kind of segmented out and all of that goodness that before you could only do with Premiere's built-in transcription.
That's really cool. That's really cool for a lot of the translation and transcription we do with some of our clients as well. So that's a really cool function. Christine, you as well?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I feel like, didn't we have this in like CS6 and like, where did that go? And, you know, and it was just, I was like, oh my God, this is like, where have you been all my life? But yeah, I mean, being able to import our transcripts, it is a pretty critical thing that we want to be able to do. And certainly people who are doing content creation for YouTube and things like that really want to be able to have that. So great that you guys are handling it. I don't know if there's time for this question. I'm not having this issue, but clients are editors for clients that I'm working with are telling me they are, that when they have, so I use automatic transcription for pretty much everything I bring in and have not had any sluggishness or issues. The only issue I still have is that it does turn off when that's active. It turns off the fit to fill, you know, how do you want to handle a 4-point edit dialog box. So that's been bothering me, but it's minor. What's I'm hearing from people is that when they have transcripts active, they're having a slowdown or a sluggishness in the application. Is anybody else getting that? Because I don't experience that, but they're telling me they are. Is that a known thing?
We've seen reports of it.
Needed?
We've seen reports of it in the group. I've not experienced that, I have to say.
But I'm still on a newer system, and I have it souped up, and, you know.
Ditto, yeah.
So I'm just curious if Matt had any thoughts on it. I just told him, turn it off when you're not using it. Just turn it off.
Here's what I'll say about that is we've never uncovered a large-scale issue with the transcripts and slowing down Premiere. We have, since we released text-based editing, which I want to say was in 2022, we have made, I think, 3 significant improvements over the time to, like, you know what, if we change this deep in the code, it will accelerate and like 10x the performance. So there have been some of those things. And so it could be true, especially if you're on a version 1 or 2 versions ago, that it's improved since then. We never had a smoking gun like bug where it was like, oh, this version, the transcripts are just slow, right? But we have been making improvements over time. So
what we have heard,
get on the latest version.
What we have heard in the group is
the answer.
what we have heard in the group is that sometimes people have got Chrome open and they're doing other things on Chrome on different tabs. They've got lots of windows open in Chrome, and it just sucks the memory out of a system, Chrome. So we know that can have an effect, but otherwise, I've not seen it, but I understand that, you know.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, Andrew. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I mean, these particular clients, they don't have internet access when they're editing, so that's not their issue. But I'm glad you mentioned this, because something I think people don't realize, I don't have a lot of issues with Premiere, and I automatically, without thinking about it, close almost everything. I don't leave those things open when I'm editing. And so I'm glad you mentioned it, because that's a great tip.
Well, and Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's because Premiere's panels are built with Chromium. Is that still the case?
Kind of.
So, but that was the main source of the reason why there was a memory leak, was because was that part of it? Because that was 5 years ago. That was a tip.
The parts of Premiere panels that do use web rendering, my understanding at least, again, not a developer, is those are isolated from Chrome itself. So it's not like behind the scenes those are sharing memory. It is true that Premiere wants all of your RAM and Chrome wants all of your RAM. And you may not notice it when you open Premiere and import a couple videos and it's just cutting. We don't need a lot of RAM. But what I think happens a lot is people are like, well, that's working fine. And then a week later, they're deep in the project. They've got Mogurts, they've got color grading, they've got third-party effects, they've got text rendering on screen. And they don't realize they're asking Premiere to do a lot more than they were when they started the project. And so now Premiere really wants all of the RAM and all of the compute resources it can, and having Chrome open, having Spotify open, having Slack open, like that's how
just shut those other things down.
Well, and that's the other thing when I do step people through the preferences panel to actually go physically change your RAM allocation for Premiere and After Effects, whatever you're using. and set it up so that you only give everything else like 3 gigs.
So listen, we are now officially over time, but I know Matt was gagging to tell us something else. He had one thing he particularly wanted to show off. Do you want to do that now?
I want to show off my favorite feature from the last 5 years, which was sensor transcript.
There you are.
I'm really excited that we got to build this and we got to have some fun with it. So I haven't tested this example yet. I kind of threw this together last minute. This is a clip from Adobe Max Sneaks 2022. We had like someone demoing on stage. And so, man, this isn't even a good clip that I picked. Hold on. I need to find a different one because there's no one on screen there. All right, let's just grab. Okay, so here's like Kevin Hart and the other speaker talking. So I'm going to just live demo, right? So here's this clip. Now, the new thing that's in beta in the text panel is you can filter by censored words. And that's kind of the way into this feature. So again, I'm doing this live. I haven't done this because you're number, he says, because
you're number 1. Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be, give me my jersey. Give me.
All right, so he says, Kevin says that a couple times. So I'm gonna pretend that that was a swear word that we need to censor, right? So I'm gonna click censored words, and then the censored word dialog pops up here. And so you have to tell us which words you consider to be censored. So he says that, right? And I'm gonna click save. And now that's like a custom search on the transcript here. And so you can see that. So just like if I was doing a search, I can navigate between them and see the 2 different ones. I can also delete them. That's not that exciting. The fun part is the apply effect, right? So I'm gonna choose Bleep and click replace all. And just like that, this is now my timeline.
Doesn't have to be, give me my jersey. Give me my jersey. It's yours. I mean.
Oh my God, Jimmy, I knew it was going to sound awful. It's Jimmy Kimmel, unnecessary censorship.
Now here's the fun part. I'm gonna undo that. And we have some different effects built in. So instead of a bleep, you can do a mute, which is basically, we do a mute even when you do a bleep, right? Because you need to actually cut the audio out. You can't just rely on the bleep to fully block it. But we have dog bark, toy horn, and duck quack included.
Duck quack.
Oh, let's do duck quack.
Duck quack.
So once again, I'm going to hit replace all. And I actually want to call something out. Notice that with a bleep, we just put a tone in, but we actually have a duck quack sound that we imported into the project here for you.
Oh, it automatically brought in. Wow.
And then cut it into the timeline for you. Nice. And so you can see it's muted and the duck quacks are there. So here we go.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be, give me my jersey. Give me my jersey. It's yours. I mean, what's happening?
That's awesome.
Hey, okay, I already, Matt. So did you bring in that duck quack? Can I bring in something and attach it to like a sound effect and attach it to a particular section?
Christine, it's like we planned this.
Yes, it's like you planned
this.
I gave you the softball. There we go.
And you can choose any file you like and point it to us on disk, and we'll import it and stick it in there for you.
Nice.
So wah 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 can be used.
I'm gonna ask you a tough question here, Matt.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, here's a hardball one. Developers. I mean, APPE from Jim. We came up with it ages ago. Transcriptive Lumberjack. They were ahead of the curve on all this stuff. Are you going to leave anything left for developers?
Yes.
Sorry to ask you. I apologize for giving the hardball question, but I think it's an important one because you want developers to push the boundaries and work the APIs, right?
Absolutely. That's something we do consider. I will say in this case, we did have this feature sort of incubating for a while, I think before APPE even came out. So it's not something that we intentionally did or didn't decide to do in this specific case, right? We weren't like, oh, we need to copy that, or well, we shouldn't copy. It was done completely independently. But I think an extremely big part of the value of Premiere Pro is that ecosystem of people who make plugins, right?
Oop.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but you're frozen.
We can hear you, but you've frozen.
My camera turned off. Hold on.
You look good though.
No, that's a terrible frame. Jeez.
I think that's probably telling us we're now near the end of the screen. The
Yeah.
screen.
So-
The
Well,
screen.
that's
I'll just-
awesome.
I'll finish what I'm saying. I don't know. Is the studio display camera just went off? Anyway,
I think I might have a picture of you.
We work closely with our partners, and we want to give them space to do stuff, but some things just make sense in the app too. And so this is one of those that we wanted to build.
Thanks for answering that question. I know it was a tough one. Really,
My camera didn't want to deal with it.
yeah. I didn't want to. You're lucky you didn't get to have expressions because it's so funny. Because here's Neil's thing. It's so appropriate.
Anyway, switch
He's
to my
back.
backup cam.
He's back. So listen, guys,
Okay.
guys and gals, everyone here. I think that's the show. We've gone over, but I got to say, this was it was really good of you to come along. I hope you'll come again, Matt, because clearly you're passionate about this stuff. You're developing things that are great. I know you want people to jump in and beta test this stuff and give feedback. Is there anything else you'd just like to say before we close out the show?
No. Thank you for having me, and try things out in beta and let us know how they're going, because we are listening. People get an email. Multiple people at Adobe get emails every time there's a comment left on a thread, especially one of our beta feature ones that we're asking for feedback. So
Cool.
We're listening.
And Christine, for you, we're about to round off. Is there anything that you wish you'd said that you can now say?
No.
What you mean? Not even here's some cake? I thought Matt. I thought you were bringing cake. What's going on?
What's that? Oh, no, sorry. I guess my camera doesn't.
It's definitely time to close the show. Kyle.
Well, I just want to say thanks
Thoughts?
everyone for tuning in. Lucid Link, Digital Anarchy. Thank you for making this possible. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, let's
And,
just pop that up.
I'll shout out.
There we go.
Big thanks to Andrew and Kyle. I know you guys help a lot of people by providing this forum and space for us to share knowledge with each other. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been 11 or years, but it was Giacomo that started it all, and there has been a lot of people who have been part of David Hartley Kuntz, Arthur, that really helped develop the culture over time. And what I love is that people are. There's no whining. There's no platform flame wars for the most part. We're there to help each other, and that's just awesome. It's not like the rest of Facebook where people want to rage, and I really appreciate everybody's commitment.
And guess
to that.
what, guys?
That's it.
That is a show. So we're just going to stop the show. We're going to say goodbye, stop the show. We'll be waving madly. My thanks to all of you for watching. My thanks to Christine, Matt, my absolute brilliant brother in arms and colleague, Kyle. Without whom none of this would exist. And we're going to wrap it up. That was episode 4 of Life. We'll be here next week. Any questions, any thoughts, anything you want to know about, anything you want us to talk about, discuss, drop us DMs in the chats or send us DMs in the meantime. And I think with that, there we go. We are now going to end the stream. So if you'd like to
see you
stay
next
quiet, see you next week. Say goodbye, everyone.
You,
Bye,
Matt.
everyone.
Goodbye. And we're ending the stream. Bye.